Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of Exudes Excellence. I'm Tasty Bacon, joined as always by Limes.
What is up, guys?
And today we're going to take a look at the free-to-play MOBA Battle for Graxia from Petroglyph. And now, Battle for Graxia is a relatively new game. Some of you may remember the game Rise of Immortals, as you saw on the tagline there. This was originally Rise of Immortals and has been completely overhauled and changed and relaunched as Battle for Graxia.
Yeah, me and Tasty have quite a bit of history with Rise of Immortals. We were actually kind of like the tournament hosting casting duo back in the good old days of that game. But since then it has changed quite a lot, and I've moved on a bit from the game. Tasty still plays a lot though, so it's always nice to come back and see it in its full glory.
Yeah, I'm actually rather active in the game still. I just recently became a moderator, and I'm still going to be the lead commentator once tournaments do start up again. But that's not why we're doing this game. We were going to be focusing on this game at some point anyway, largely because of the fact that it's really how Limes and I met. Actually, it is how Limes and I met, and it's also kind of how we got our start in casting and doing this kind of stuff in the first place. So game really does have a lot of meaning to us, and so when you log in, just get right to it. Enough about us. That's not what you guys care about. As you've seen, the UI is a little on the iffy side, I guess. A lot of people have said it looks a little bit dated. It's a little confusing at first. Once you get into it and get used to it, it's really pretty streamlined, actually. You saw each immortal has different pages you can go through. They have discipline trees, which are very familiar for anyone who's played games like League of Legends. Then there's also artifacts, which are similar to runes, but they are a bit different. They have set bonuses and things like that. So there are some differences in that aspect. And then there's also the shop here, which is now it's actually similar to League of Legends, but they actually had this layout before League of Legends switched to this design.
Yeah, these guys did it before it was cool. The in-game shop is actually really good. They took a lot of community suggestions from the Rise of Immortals shop, the big one being things like favorite items and being able to save your kind of item builds. And they have moved that into Battle for Graxia, so the in-game UI is actually pretty decent.
Yeah, as you notice, the items are streamlined in that you don't build 3 to 4 items into a stronger item. You just purchase the flat item and then upgrade it as you get more gold. So it's much easier to understand in that sense, and I personally like that system a bit better. It's just easier and makes it a lot smoother. I feel you're not spending as much time trying to find the items that you're looking for.
Yeah, it's similar to how Smite does their item system. It's very much just kind of like a streamlined idea where you buy an item and then you just usually keep it for most of the game and upgrade it as you get more powerful.
Mm-hmm. And now, there's also a few different game modes in the game already, including, obviously there's the standard 5v5, which you're seeing right now. It's 3 lanes, minions go down each lane and just mindlessly attack each other, and the enemy towers, which are there defending the lanes. And your goal in Battle for Graxia, like other MOBAs or games of the genre, is to destroy the opponent's base. They have their shrine is the central building that you're trying to destroy. It's protected by these towers. And so you go with your minions, you split up into the lanes, and just try and push into the enemy base by destroying those towers so that you can eventually destroy their base.
Yeah, the game doesn't deviate too much from the kind of tried and true formula we've seen in a lot of other MOBAs these days. And there's nothing particularly wrong with this, I think. It's definitely a good team-based game mode.
Mm-hmm. Some of the other game modes there's a 3v3, which takes place on a single lane here, as opposed to what some of you may be used to from other games, where it's 2 lanes for the 3 players. There's also an ARAM mode, which, as everybody who's played MOBAs knows what an ARAM is, all random, all mid. So they actually have a game mode set up in the game for that they've had for a good amount of time now already. and there's also a 1ve and 3ve, which is players versus environment. It's just against bots. The AI for the bots is a little on the
shit side.
To put it simply, the AI is not very good, but it is still, it's good training for someone who's just coming into the game for the first time and trying to learn the mechanics of the game in general, or a new character, things like that. Hopefully the AI is something that they'll be working on so that they can add more customizability to the custom games, but we'll see if that's something that comes down the road. I know it is something that they're working on, but we'll have to see how it plays out.
One interesting thing that you're showing us at the moment is that this gameplay footage is from a replay, I'm pretty sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. Now,
this was actually from a spectator mode, but there is
Really?
a replay mode which looks identical. It just has the controls on the bottom.
Okay, because, so way back when I used to commentate for Rise of Immortals, literally every single time there was an interview with any of the developers, I had one question, and that was, when are we getting replays for Rise of Immortals? And so, them releasing replays for Battle for Graxia, which unfortunately I don't play as much, it's kind of painful, but I will admit it is nice that they have it. And so definitely, from kind of like a competitive standpoint, this game has quite a bit of potential to kind of go that extra mile and support the competitive community.
And along the lines of features that were just added, along with the replay mode, they also added what's called the White Knighting system, which is, I feel, a really awesome system that they just put in. It essentially allows you to, when you queue up, you can select an option to for White Knighting, and it becomes available when you're level 15 or above in a persistent level. And what it does is, if there's a game where someone has left the game for whatever reason, either a rage quit, a disconnect, anything at all, once they've been disconnected for, I think it's about 5 minutes or so, essentially once they've got a good idea that they're probably not coming back, then you can actually get put into that game. It'll ask you first. It'll tell you who you would be joining as and on what server, and then you can actually hop into that game, taking the place of the disconnected player, so that the team doesn't have to play down a man for the rest of the match. So it's a really awesome idea that helps out with the issue of leavers and ragers ruining games for players.
Yeah, it's interesting because that system as well as the replay system were both kind of big community issues. The replay system was kind of just my issue, but in particular
there were quite a few people asking for the replay system, so you weren't alone.
Okay, well, especially the White Knight system. I do remember, like, way back in 2011, when this game was still called Rise of Immortals, people were saying, can we get a mode where you can kind of jump in and play as a disconnected character? And back then I was just kind of just like, I don't see how you could pull it off, but apparently you just straight away just throw them into the game as that character, and that's how you do it. So it's pretty cool how they've alleviated a lot of these issues.
Mm-hmm. And they have actually made a lot of changes to that mode already. It's only been in the game for about a week or two at this point, I believe. Actually, no, it's been a little bit longer, I think. But they've already changed the way it works a lot as far as keeping it balanced. So it is really nice to see them working on getting issues that the community has fixed or taken care of, making the game better for the community. They are going to be starting up tournaments relatively soon, and there's also going to be additional changes. They're constantly just working on, obviously, releasing new immortals, new skins, new features for the community. There's actually going to be an immortal released within a week of this video going live. There will be another new immortal added to the game, so it's not like they're just kind of letting it stagnate and letting it die out, like a lot of people actually did think was the case a few months ago. But it's really nice to see them pushing these new features now.
Yeah, I mean, Rise of Immortals has had quite a rocky history, to say the least. I mean, it was released in, closed beta, early 2011. Open beta was in around September of 2011. And since then, it's kind of just sat in the background, not really being noticed by many people. There were a few tournaments and here and there, but generally the game was kind of just going downhill for a few reasons. So it was kind of strange to see that they actually went back and just completely redid the whole game. That's almost unheard of for games these days. Usually if a game is seen as bad, it kind of just dies. So, I mean, mad props to Petroglyph for just kind of sticking to their guns with this game and just going, alright, we understand that there are issues, here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna go and put the game back into closed beta. We're gonna completely change everything. And they come up with this, and it's actually doing pretty well.
Yeah, it's actually, one thing that's a little upsetting to see is a lot of game review sites have actually just, instead of putting up Battle for Graxia as a separate game, they just kind of updated the Rise of Immortals page to be Battle for Graxia, which is a little unfair because it really is an entirely new game. If you've played Rise of Immortals and you didn't like it, definitely go back and check out Battle for Graxia now. It is not the same game at all. It's entirely different from the way Rise of Immortals worked. It's even different from other MOBAs like League of Legends or Heroes of New Earth or Dota, in the fact that it's a lot more, I don't want to say action-oriented, but it is a lot more it's much faster paced, I feel. There's a lot more kills going on than you'll see. It's a lot less passive laning in the laning phase and all. There's a lot of characters that can just do a lot of burst damage, so you really do, it's just a bit quicker, and so that's one of the things I like, is that whole aspect of it.
Yeah, plus the community is really cohesive. I mean, ever since the Rise of Immortals days, there's always been like a kind of tight-knit group of people that enjoy this game. And it's not the kind of community where it's really difficult to kind of like find the cool people in the game. So it is nice to kind of see that community behind it.
Well, that's just about all the time that we have for this week. So once again, thank you for checking out the video. We hope you'll check out the game. It is once again Battle for Graxia. And until next time, take care.
We'll see you guys later.